In your opinion, who are the top 5 49er quarterbacks of the last 40 years? Of course, after Joe and Steve, then I'm looking for a debate. So let's see what you got. Who are your top 5 quarterbacks of the last 40 years? And we're talking about 49er quarterbacks, of course.
That's this is a damn good question. So yeah, the first two answers, Montana, Young. I think we're all fairly happy with that. After that, I think it really comes down to what I guess the criteria for what people consider the best, 49ers quarterback. For me, I'm going to say Jeff Garcia is number 3. Here's the reason why. So 3 years in a row, he was a Pro Bowler, 2000, 2001, 2002. Back when the Pro Bowl kind of meant more than it does now. Now it's kind of like half the guys don't even want to go. Not only that, he put up big numbers. I looked at it just there, and he was like 80 in those 3 years combined, like 83 or 4 touchdowns, 30 interceptions, ran for a bunch of touchdowns. We won more games than we lost. He also had that big playoff moment where, like, against the Giants, we come back, him and T.O. just, hooking up. But there's 3 years in a row where, and that was awesome.
Yeah.
I have a buddy who's a Giants fan, so it was even better. But, but 3 years in a row, Garcia was really, really good. After that, number 4, I'm going to go Kaepernick. Reason why I say Kaepernick is because Kaepernick at his peak, when he's on form on his day, man, he was just almost unstoppable. I think about, and Kaepernick performed on big stages. At the end of the Super Bowl, that last drive could have gone differently. But, you think about it like that game, Sunday Night Football at New England. When we go into New England, Belichick, Brady at the height of their powers, and we beat them. Kaepernick was great that game. In the playoffs against Green Bay, where he just ran for 170-something yards. Kaepernick on his day could beat anybody. If he was feeling it, he could beat anybody. So I think in just talent-wise, he's number 4. Number 5, it comes down. It's either Alex Smith or Garoppolo. I'm gonna go Alex Smith. So
whoa,
yeah. So here's the thing. Here's why I'm going Alex Smith. Okay. So his first 5 or 6 years in the league with the Niners were awful. They were not good. When you look at the numbers, they were not good at all. Terrible situation. Mike Nolan, not a good head coach. Different offensive coordinators every year. Mike Singletary, not a great head coach. But when Harbaugh came in, Alex Smith finally has a good head coach. What happens? The first year, we go to the NFC Championship game, and because of a couple of fumbles, we don't make the Super Bowl. And then if you think about it, Alex Smith had that big playoff game against the Saints. That final drive hits Vernon Davis. Awesome. You look at Garoppolo, of course, we went to the Super Bowl. We almost won with Garoppolo. Last year, NFC Championship game. But when I just kind of look at both of these guys as players, I think Alex Smith throws a better deep ball. Alex Smith, more athletic. Alex Smith is not – here's the big thing that separates them to me is that Alex Smith, I don't think, is going to lose you a game. Jimmy Garoppolo can lose you a game. He can, Jimmy Garoppolo has some good qualities, super lightning quick release. He can have he's had big clutch moments. But Alex Smith, I think if we had Alex Smith in these playoffs, like Alex Smith around like 2012, obviously not Alex Smith right now, I think we would have destroyed the Cowboys. Like, think about it, that Cowboy game in the playoffs that just passed, Garoppolo, that fourth quarter interception was just, what was that? The game at Green Bay, Garoppolo throws that crazy interception in the red zone as we're driving down. Alex Smith doesn't do that. So I think I would personally, if it was like, hey, you have one game, you got to win it. If I have a great defense, which both guys had, Garoppolo's had a great defense here. Alex Smith, back when we had Willis and Bowman and Justin Smith and all those guys. If you have a great defense, if you have a good running game, to me, I'm choosing Alex Smith. That's just me.
Hey, man. I totally respect your opinion. I gotta say, what's good to Libby's World? Hopefully you're having a excellent Sunday. And yeah, John Brooks on that trade, or that possible trade. We don't even know if that's a legit offer, but we'll see what happens in the next few days. But I gotta say, in regards to this question, for me, I think we're going to judge these, obviously past Joe and Steve. I think we're going to judge the 3 to 4 quarterbacks on their peak years. And for me, I think Kaepernick was probably the most exciting to watch. If we're talking about Garcia, Cap, Jimmy, and Alex, he beat the Patriots. He beat the Packers on the road. He had a lot of memorable games, and obviously these 4 quarterbacks, their peak was very short, right? But I think Kaepernick, we hadn't really seen a quarterback do that. We saw Jeff Garcia do that, and honestly, I think Jeff Garcia was probably the better passer. But Jeff Garcia also had Hall of Famer Terrell Owens. I mean, so you kind of gotta. It's not, every scenario is different, but there's no doubt Jeff Garcia, he was electrifying to watch as well. For me, I would probably put Cap 3, probably put Garcia 4, and then of course it's between Alex Smith and Jimmy G. And Alex Smith last year, you mentioned he got a head coach, and he had 4 pretty good years with the Kansas City Chiefs. His last year with the Chiefs, I think he put up like 26 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. So he's definitely proven to be a more prolific passer than Jimmy G. But if you look at Alex Smith, and you can't just ignore the seasons where, I mean, some of his seasons, it was like 13 touchdowns, 7, like that's some ugly stuff for 2022, man, as a starting quarterback. And I'm going to give the edge to Jimmy, and the reason I give it to Jimmy is he didn't throw us to the Super Bowl. He didn't throw us to the NFC Championship game, but I think he played a part. Sometimes he allowed other teams to stay in the game. There's no doubt about that. But I think Jimmy, when he was traded here, we were a franchise that was in disarray. Chip Kelly, Jim Tomsula, those were some lean years with the 49ers, man. And when Jimmy was healthy, 2 out of 4 years, we were a relevant team. When he wasn't healthy, you weren't even sniffing the playoffs. So I'm going to give the edge to Jimmy. I know Alex Smith, he had that great moment against the Saints. I think that was an NFC wild card game at Candlestick, I believe. So he had that great moment. That's probably, when I think of Alex Smith, that's what I think of. Jimmy G, he doesn't really have a signature moment. I know he has some good regular season games, like against New Orleans, a few games against Arizona. I'm going to give a slight edge to Jimmy, but let's be real. If one of those guys is our quarterback, it leaves a little bit to be desired, man. Like,
true. Yeah, so, I agree. I think, I'm curious. I'm really curious to see, let's say in like 2 or 3 years time, it's like, will Trey Lance be in the top 5? Will he for sure be above them? I think for sure he has the potential. Yeah. We got a great team, so great coaching too. That's like the other thing as well, that, when you factor in some of these things where, like, towards the end with Kaepernick, like Jim Tomsula, I can't even, who was the offensive coordinator that year? I don't even remember.
Wasn't it like Jimmy Ray or something like that?
Just like,
yeah. And Alex Smith, I think he had a different offensive coordinator like every year. He also had the shoulder surgery, and then, the Niners, we didn't really have that great teams. I know we had Vernon Davis, we had Frank Gore, but there were some lean years. Alex Smith didn't really hit his stride until he got, head coach in Harbaugh. So you got to take that into consideration as well. I think Alex Smith head coach, it was Mariucci, right? Or did Mariucci?
Garcia?
Still there? Yeah, I believe.
Yeah, Mariucci, and then I think Garcia's last year was 2003, and was
that Dennis Erickson yet?
Which was just
college coach, didn't really work out. Yeah, so